Hey BookTube, it's Tank Top Tuesday, and I'm going to do a fitting tag which was suggested by Brian over at Bookish. This is an original tag created by Brian, so thank you, Brian. Cheers, my friends. Now, it's BookTube at the gym tag, pardon me, and it's an unusual tag because I don't think a lot of booktubers, work out and stuff. That sounds kind of mean. I don't know that. I know I used to. I don't anymore. Haven't touched a weight in probably, let's see, we used to have a weight machine in the basement. I never really used it much. It's probably been 15 years. So, okay. Question number 1. Bench press gives you a chance to show off. So, alright, I'm just going to throw this out there since I have an ego. I'm 5'7". When I was in high school, I didn't even weigh 130 pounds. Right now I weigh 165, which is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. So, I used to be able to bench 220 on a regular basis. I think I hit 140 a couple times, or not 140. I used to be able to bench 220 on a regular basis. I hit 240 one time, and then when I was down in Texas at Fort Hood, I got on a weight machine down there, and me and a bigger gentleman were in there lifting, and I hit 260, and he goes, "Man," he goes, "way to go, little guy." I was like, "Thanks." Anyway, but I have short arms, so it kind of makes it easier. All right, what book are you proud of having read? This is Bench Press. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, which is a masterpiece according to critics of the time, and even, I mean, it's a pretty good book. It's about struggling during the Depression and trying to, feed your family and survive and stuff like that. But having grown up in kind of an impoverished area, didn't really blow me away. I mean, the writing was pretty good, but so that was number 1. 2, leg day. Lots of people like to skip leg day. I totally agree with that. Oh, by the way, Brian used this great voice when he did this video. You absolutely have to see it. I'm going to try to leave a link if I can ramp up my nerd skills. I know it's cut and paste, but he kind of sounded like, I mean, it was like a wrestling voice, but it reminded me of Rex from Rex Kwon Do in Napoleon Dynamite. If you haven't seen that, just go watch that, and that's kind of what Brian's voice reminded me of. But it was funny, and I appreciated it because even though, we all take literature seriously, it's kind of fun not to take ourselves too seriously, I guess. And it's always nice to see that, people have a sense of humor. So, 2, leg day. Lots of people like to skip it. Here I go. I'm getting back when I used to lift weights. I squatted 360, which I don't even know if that's good anymore. I mean, but I figured for somebody my size, it's probably pretty good. And I could leg press 750 on the machine. That's 750 pounds. Again, I have short legs. When I would sneak in, and some of the football players were my friends, and the coach would actually let me go in there and work out and stuff, even though I wasn't a player. So What book genre author you skip because you don't think you can handle it, or do you wish you had skipped? Actually did skip. That would be Herman Melville, Moby Dick. I have this massive, beautiful copy, and I cannot get through it. When I was in honors English, or one of my English classes when I was in college, I did read was Bartleby the Scrivener, where they likened Bartleby to Christ, and there's, people always like to overanalyze literature, but I still can't get through this one. So, 3 crunches. We all know crunches are good for us. What's a book you read because you needed to gain better understanding of literature, your work, history, etc.? The Vikings. This has several authors. I have always been fascinated by warrior cultures. The samurai. I have some books on those. The Vikings, the Native Americans. This one actually incorporated into, and if you've ever played the video game Skyrim, their hierarchy. Gee, sounds like somebody opened a beer in the next room. Yeah, we do that around here. Okay, you go from the king, the jarl, then the Bondi, which was the backbone of the Viking society, and then you get down to the thralls, which were basically slaves, and I will not say who was at the bottom of that, but I actually used this hierarchy in my novel, which I have not, it's like in its first draft. I've got it written out in longhand. It's called The Strand Wolf, but that's another story. For the treadmill, it's all about endurance. What's a difficult or long book you powered through? By the way, cardio is really important. I can't run anymore like I used to because of some health issues, joints and things. But anyway, the book I chose is Dying of the Light. Me and Dane Cobain over at Dane Reads did a buddy read on this, and we were a little bit disappointed. I think Dane actually has an autographed copy of this, but I don't think it's particular or regular George R. R. Martin fare, because this was one of his earlier ones, and I don't know, the pace wasn't all that great, and it just really didn't do it for me. 5. Lat Rose. This is all about feeling good about yourself. I used to do a little bit of lat work back in the day. I can't do it anymore. What's a book, an author, or genre you read because it makes you feel good or brings you joy? Horror fiction. I always go back to horror fiction, really, because when I was a kid, I read a lot of comic books, Weird War Tales, Tales from the Crypt. Used to get these magazines, Famous Monsters of Filmland, I think is what it was called. Enjoyed the old movies. It's something I always return to, and something that I really enjoy. I mean, it's the whole genre. I mean, some of it's cheesy, and you have all these subgenres and stuff, but horror fiction, just something I like. Squats. That heavy weight can get you down. What's a book you found depressing but you pushed through? That would be Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, An Indian History of the American West by D. Brown. And yes, it was depressing. I've always identified a bit with Native Americans, and you know, like I've said before, when we had the school play, and there's like, who wants to be the Indian? Me. When we played cowboys and Indians, you know, because when I was a kid, westerns was the thing. So. Bicep curls, number 7. It's easy to overdo these. Used to do a few. Yeah, hear me popping and cracking. Name 2 authors you've read too much. Stephen King and Dean Koontz. I basically fell out of love with Stephen King when he got sober. And it's just, I've not really enjoyed his books. I know he's a great writer. His older stuff's just awesome. And Dean Koontz, again, his earlier stuff, and up until, you know, I got sick of his beta males and his alpha females and some of the other stuff that he was doing. It's like, done. So I haven't read either one of those probably in a long, yeah, I don't know, probably 10 years or something. And I've tried some of the recent stuff. I just don't care for it. 8. Tricep curls. The triceps are too often ignored. Well, you shouldn't ignore triceps because they make up 2/3 of, you know, the size of your arm. So, you know, you should, you know, bench press is 70% chest, 15% tricep, and 15% deltoids, I think. Now, it's been a long time since I worked out. Name 3 authors you need to read more of, or read more. James Baldwin. I'm actually reading Go Tell It on the Mountain right now. This is The Fire Next Time. Charles Bukowski. I don't have the book here. It's in there at my desk. And Ursula K. Le Guin. So that's it. Supposed to tag some people for 9. I don't know who's done this. My advice is tackle this one. It's a lot of fun, and hey, if you can do a voice, I would sure like to hear it. Like I said, Brian did a really great video. So thank you, Brian, for the tag, more or less, and it was a good one. So cheers, my friends. Thank you for sticking around, and if you're young and ambitious, hit the gym. Yeah, I used to. Bye.